Hey everybody, welcome to Tumbleweed Ranch and welcome to an epic fleet update. So as a lot of you know, we buy and sell vehicles on a regular basis. We always like to buy high and sell low is our motto. But in this video, we're talking about the vehicles that are for sale, how you can own them if you'd like, vehicles that are coming up, and everything in between. Case is behind the camera. He's gonna help me out today. So let's open up the barn and show you what we got.
Tommy, we've got quite the lineup here.
Yeah, we do, Case. What a lineup of misfits. Some really cool little gems in here, and we're going to go down the line and talk a little bit about everything, what we have in these vehicles and what we're looking to get out of some of them. In Case, I guess we'll just start on the right. So this is my Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, Tommy, what's going on over here?
Well, here's the story with this car, Case. So I bought it for a good deal about 2.5 years ago, put a lot of money into it, did some stuff on the interior there. It's got a freshly rebuilt engine. And then this past winter, I came out to it one day and the paint had just started flaking off in big chunks, which is an absolute bummer.
Yeah, bodywork is not a lot of fun to do, nor is it typically very cheap. You can kind of make it cheap, but then it does that. So that's tough, but it does run really well.
Yeah, mechanically it's really good, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna repaint it or sell it. I got a quote to repaint it, and it's well more than the car is worth, so that's currently on the back burner. Now this is a fun little truck, Case. You wanna explain this little white truck?
Yeah, this is a Honda Acti, which, as most of you people can tell, is a K truck, so it's super fun. They're kind of, well, really not possible to register for the road out here in Colorado, because Colorado has some pretty tough laws around these, but a blast to drive and a really handy vehicle around the ranch. We've got a bunch of wheels in the back, and we've been using this to move stuff back and forth between the various structures here on the property. Yeah,
what's funny, Case, is that 2CV over there with maybe 27 horsepower made out of tinfoil is completely legal, but this Honda with real brakes and a real engine and an actual set of seatbelts is not legal in Colorado, which just baffles us. So maybe we're going to look into doing a story about that, right, Case?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely more coming with the Honda Acti, but these are kind of the stars of what we're talking about today, because both this Dakota RT and this Subaru Brat we're selling.
Yeah, that's right. So initially we bought these three to do a series on. We started production and it just didn't feel quite right. It felt a little too weird. So the Honda we can't really sell because we don't have a title for. We're just going to use it as a little ranch truck.
Well, we don't really want to sell that one.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, but this is a good truck, which we're looking for a good home. This is a pretty rare truck. It's a Dakota RT, and for only a couple of years, Dodge put the massive 5.9 liter Magnum under the hood of the RT. They changed some suspension components and they built a little muscle truck.
It's a kick-ass truck. It sounds fantastic. It's rear-wheel drive, and this we drag raced against every mid-sized truck that's on the market today, and this was almost as fast as the fastest of the bunch, at least currently, and not looking at special models like a Ranger Raptor, but this was as fast, almost in the quarter mile, as the fastest of all the mid-sized trucks we tested. So this is actually a pretty muscular little vehicle.
It is pretty cool, Case, and it does have some mods on it, which would be really easy to remove, like, of course, the headlight and tail light covers. It's got just under, I think, 90,000 miles on it, and we're asking $7,900, which is, I think, a pretty fair deal. So if you folks want more info, if you're looking into a pretty cool little Dakota RT, send us an email, ask@tfltruck.com.
Yeah. Somebody put a lot of time and energy into this, and it could be made into something that's maybe a little less in your face pretty easily.
Yeah. Now this was a fun one, Case. So this is actually a pretty rare car. This is a 1979 Subaru Brat that's been rhino lined, but apart from that, it is very original. We actually put a new clutch in it, got it running right, and it's once again a pretty fun little truck. You know, to make this really nice, I would probably get rid of this really questionable rhino lining on it, but like it's got the original interior in it, which is getting pretty rare. It's not super beat the heck, which is very unusual. It's not super rusty for a Brat, so it's a good little basis for a really fun project.
Yeah, and especially if you did a different color scheme, you could make this look a lot better. And this one, we're only looking for $5,900 for it. And
yeah,
it's a good runner.
For sure, yeah. We put some money into it, so it's definitely going to be a money loser for us. But if you want an awesome little four-wheel drive, we got a fun video over at TFL Classics demonstrating the 4x4 system that works pretty well.
Now, why don't I take the camera back and you can show a couple of the vehicles that are near and dear to your heart and to Roman's heart, starting in the corner.
Yeah, so this is a Polaris Sportsman 570. This is a press loader that we're testing out from Polaris. This does not belong to us or TFL. This is a cool car. This is I think, kind of the most underappreciated Miata. This is an NC Miata NC2 in really nice original condition that we bought for some drag racing and performance testing stuff, and we're going to do more stuff with it this summer. Also a fairly low mileage car. And this is a really cool ride. This is a 1968 Ford Mustang California Special, definitely a bucket list car. California Specials are fairly rare. They've got some cool stuff like the little hood pins on the front end. It's got the rear fiberglass portion from a Shelby Outback, which is really cool. The vintage badging. This car has a real nice restoration on it, and I think we're going to hold on to it. Casey just did a video with this over at TFL Classics, right?
Yeah, we compared this to the brand new Mustang that we have, the current generation. Also worth mentioning, and I think this is pretty cool. Your turn signals here. That is your indicator to show you that your turn signal is flashing there in the hood.
Now, it's not a particularly fast car, 289 two-barrel, but it's a really clean little runner, so we're going to hold on to this one for some time and do some more fun stuff with it. This is my personal car. This is a 72 Mercedes, oh my gosh, my brain is just completely fried today. What is this case? 250C. So this is a very low owner car that we bought locally. I've done a ton of stuff to it, a lot of carb work done to it. It's got some stuff on the interior. I think I bought it for 12. I'm probably in it closer to 16 or 17,000.
And it's such a pretty car.
It really is, yeah. This is actually, I mean, it's got some paint stuff, but I don't think it's ever been repainted, so we're just going to leave it be. This is going to be my wedding car. I'm getting married in the next month. So,
and as far as paint stuff goes, the paint on this compared to at least, well, definitely the Beetle. The paint's on great on that.
Doing pretty good, yeah. So that's definitely a keeper. I love that car. Had it for about a year and a half and no plans to sell it. This is a company vehicle. This is a Land Cruiser we just used in a series, an 80 series Land Cruiser 95 FZJ80, so it's got the better later engine in it. This is a great vehicle. Fairly low mileage as Land Cruisers go. It's got a lift on it. It's got some beefy Falcons. But apart from that case, this guy's ready to rumble. Yeah,
this is just a solid, sturdy vehicle, and this is also going to be in an upcoming series. You know, we're not going to talk too much about that yet, but there's a lot more coming with this.
Yeah, for sure. And then within the next couple months, we'll be ready to sell this as well. So once again, ask at TFL Truck if you're interested in making an offer. We do want to compare it against a new 250 series Land Cruiser that's just coming up, because this is our favorite of the Land Cruisers. Okay, so this car is an interesting story. This is an 87 911 that we bought super cheap, as 911s go. Top didn't work, and I think this car has been in our possession for a total of maybe 3 weeks over the last 2 years, because we drive it for a week, something catastrophic breaks, it's in the shop for 6 months, drive it for a week, something catastrophic breaks, it's in the shop. We just got it back last week, put the new wheels on it, which look great, top is fixed again, interior is done, and then immediately the power windows failed, so back to the shop for more issues with it.
There's nothing more expensive than a cheap 911.
So I think we bought this for like $35, which if you know air-cooled 911s is about as cheap as it gets. And we're probably in at like $60, which is about maybe what it's worth, maybe. Okay, Case, what about this car? What's the story with this?
This is a car that was sent to us from Honda, from their vintage car collection. And what's impressive about this car is if we pop open the door and we look at the dash, you might be able to tell just by looking at everything else about this car. But this car has about 70 miles.
Yeah.
So it's brand new, a 1984 Civic that Honda sent to us because it's been in storage, not really doing a whole lot. So they wanted us to get it running and actually use it, make videos about it, drive it, and show how cool this car is.
Road trip it back, yeah. I mean, you can tell though that windshield wiper's probably never been used. It's in pristine condition. Our buddy Andy has been, he's a Honda carb wizard. He's been rebuilding the carb. We've been collabing with some people, draining the fuel, doing some other mechanical stuff, and this thing will be ready to go. So it's not quite running, but we're in the process of making it run. Citroen 2CV, 1982. Fun little project car. We need to do some more with it. It just sits here too much of the time, but it's a really nice imported car from Germany. tiny little French car with the softest suspension in the world.
Yeah, I feel like you can't walk up to that car, well, especially if you own it and you don't mind laying your hands on it. You can't walk up to that car without pushing it side to side like that to show how soft the springs are.
Yeah, exactly. And then this is a late 90s Ford Expedition. More on that soon. It's also going to be part of an upcoming series.
This truck also has some very questionable skull and crossbone wheels.
It's got some questionable mods. All right, Case, so that's the first of 3 buildings. On to number 2. All right, Case, let's see what we got in the Carriage House.
Hopefully some good stuff. Oh, well, it's starting with one of my favorite vehicles that we have, this GMT 400 Tahoe.
Yeah, this is such a clean vehicle. Low mileage. It's a one-owner Tahoe. Yeah, it's locked up, but it's just an absolute peach. Really, really nice condition. It was expensive. It was $9,000, but it was worth every penny.
Yeah, absolutely. The paint is perfect on it. It's low miles. It's really cool. And then tell me about this, Tommy.
That's our yard tractor / work tractor. It's a John Deere 1023E, just went in for service and a blade sharpening. This has been a savior out here at the ranch, cutting grass and doing light work. It's been really, really good.
More useful than necessarily exciting. But on the very exciting end of the spectrum, we have one of Tommy and I both's favorite vehicles that's rolled through the office in the last, I don't know, how long would you say?
Oh God, 10 years. This is the
this
Ineos Grenadier, full series over at TFL Off-Road. We just got back from the Easter Jeep Safari in Moab. People were super excited about it, really into it. But Case, this one's going to have to go soon too, because having $80,000 tied up in a car is just too much money.
Yeah, and it's sad to see it go because it's solid axle, front and rear, lockers. We love the way that this drives, especially off-road, so it's a lot of fun, but as cool as it is, we've made all the videos that we're going to make with it.
Yep, and then Grandpa's car, we're just storing it for him. And then this is my classic Mini. Longest time I've ever owned a car, going on 4, almost 5 years now, Case, with my classic Mini. Great car to own, actually. It's been a ton of fun to drive. I drive it quite a bit, even though the tags are expired, so they can't get the darn thing to pass emissions.
Yep.
But really one of the best cars I've ever owned. Also a ton of money into this with suspension and interior and wheels, but definitely worth it. I'll never see that money back, but I have no plans on selling it.
And it's funny, too, that this, of all the vehicles, you wouldn't guess would be the hard one to get through emissions.
Isn't that funny? All right, Case, this is the coolest car I think we own right now. This is a 1915 Ford Model T. We got a series over at TFL Classics. We just had a video go viral, which is definitely worth checking out, where we hit over a million views driving this through a McDonald's and Walmart. And that was a ton of fun, huh?
It was, and I think that's why that video did so well, is because you and I were having a blast taking this on modern roads where it really feels like it does not belong.
Absolutely, but it's been sitting for close to 40 years, so we got some work we're doing. We're pulling the radiator out here shortly to figure out some overheating issues. Eventually, we're going to take the head off the engine, so those bolts are working themselves out right now. Crack the windshield, and that has to be custom made, and then the tires are shot.
Yeah, so it needs a little bit of love, but not too much, and it'll be just as happy to be back on the road. What's going on with this yard art?
My greatest shame, Case, a mid-60s Pujo 404 that's just sitting to rot.
Yeah, the grass is long around it.
I'm almost tempted to say if anyone wants a free 404, send me an email.
Because the powertrain's good on this car, it's just rusty.
Yeah, it needs floors. I started cutting them out. Powertrain works great, it's just rusty. So if you ask nicely and you can pick it up, it might be free. All right, let's keep going. Now this is a fun one, Case. I think it's fun. This is the Cat 242D. We bought this used. It has been a lifesaver out here on the ranch. It's also broken quite often, so it just went in for service to fix some stuff. But this has been a workhorse out here. And then we've got the Honda Pioneer on loan from Honda, but we're looking at buying this because this has been such a useful, practical unit out here on the ranch. It's really great, huh, Case?
Yeah, it's great to have a side-by-side on a ranch because it helps you do a lot of work, and this one has a winch. You can convert it between being a 3-seater, a bench up in the front. And you can also fold up these seats that are right now folded down to make it a bigger bed. So a lot of versatility. It's a pretty cool machine.
Yeah, this thing is awesome, and it's a dual clutch transmission versus is a CVT from like Polaris or Can-Am, which just makes it more satisfying to drive.
Yeah, and it's also interesting. You would think, because in cars at least, dual clutch transmissions typically Don't work very well off-road, but in these side-by-sides, they work really well.
Yeah, they're awesome. Okay, Case, and then lastly here, I'll open up the gate. We can go through. We have Andre's Buhanka, which has been sitting here. I think it's a really cool vehicle, and I'm not sure how much longer Andre's going to hold on to the Buhanka, but basically it's a Russian-bred van, and it's just awesome. 4-wheel drive, manual transmission, low range. That thing is just super, super cool.
Yeah.
Case, we're back at our offices to talk about some more vehicles. We'll start with this beauty. This is my personal Land Rover LR3. 6 months and 6,000 miles, and guess how many times it's broken down?
A dozen, 2 dozen?
Yeah, 3 dozen times. No, 0. Believe it or not,
Pretty
0
impressive.
times. Not to say I haven't put some money into it. It's got the winch, it's got some tires, it's got rock rails on it, and it has been awesome. How about your Land Rover?
My Land Rover is running on 6 cylinders, not 8. So
Not bad. Only 2 down.
I'm driving instead something we'll see in a second that's supposed to run on 6 cylinders. But we've got something else with 6 cylinders here.
Yep, this is not our personal vehicle, so along with buying cars, both personally and through the company, we also test vehicles from the manufacturer. This is a new 2024 Jeep Gladiator Mojave, and we've had all 6 mid-sized trucks around the office, and this was the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, we did a bunch of testing. We did MPG, we did towing, and we've done a 4-wheel drive test. So this was part of all that.
Yeah, really cool.
Pretty cool.
All right, Case, what about this blue truck?
This is Alex's massive truck. So it's a 6.7 Cummins, and he's got a really cool Moonlander camper on the back, which now that we're coming out of winter, he should actually be able to use. He goes to a lot of track days and just does some camping for fun up in the mountains. And that's a super rad setup to camp out in. And then the truck itself is just top notch. He's got it on 37s, which is also pretty badass.
Yeah, Alex has had pretty good time with his Cummins. I think he likes it overall. Our Cummins, by the way, isn't currently around. It is going out to California because we are picking up our next project vehicle, which we're really excited to show you. But that truck's got 25,000 miles
we
on
put a lot
it.
of miles on it.
Yeah, and like just under 2 years, I think. That's kind of our tow rig, and it's been awesome. It's got the AEV rear bumper on it now.
Yeah. Also 37s.
Yeah, and speaking of cool trucks, so our Tacoma Case, just approaching 5,000 miles on it. And let's talk about something back here.
Yeah, so another blue truck with a camper on it, but this one is a Go Fast camper. These are really cool. These guys have been around for a while, and they make a pretty slick unit. So this camper, from what I understand, weighs around 300 pounds. The construction of it is really impressive. You look at stuff like these latches here, the quality of these pieces is insane. It's really nicely put together. And then the back opens up here like you would expect, but the sides also open up. So it's just a pretty sweet unit.
Yeah, and it's fairly lightweight, so a couple of guys can pull it on and off fairly easily. You got that tent up here, as you mentioned, and we'll have a full video over at TFL Truck. But I'm pretty excited about that Go Fast camper setup. Really kind of makes this vehicle a more versatile camping rig.
Yeah, it's funny. We've kind of got big and small right here next to each other. They look related, but yeah, obviously very different trucks.
That's awesome. No, and so 5,000 miles on Tacoma. It's about to go in for its first oil change. So hopefully Andre will be able to get an oil sample, send it off to see how the 2.4 liter is doing. No other issues with the front diff. Although hopefully we'll have an update on that shortly about more technically what's going on and what happened.
They've been diving into it to try and get us all the information that they can on what actually happened with that. So as soon as we know, we'll put out a video about that.
And Case, what about this white truck here? This is your personal rig.
Yeah. The truck's doing not too bad. The paint over time, every winter that I drive it, the paint gets a little worse over time. And this is something that we just painted over a long weekend a couple years ago. So it was never fantastic bodywork to begin with. So at some point, I'll have to pour some time into it. But for now, it's just Old Faithful. This is the thing that I drive when, I need to make sure I actually get to where I'm going.
And how many miles?
I'm at 266 right now, roundabout.
4 years?
Well,
no, I mean, you owned it for what, 4 years now? So
I've had it for 4 years.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, and it's been pretty good to you.
Yeah, it is. It's a solid truck. It's not, the most refined thing, but that's also not really what I care about. And it's just a good, solid vehicle. Still, after all this time, really love driving it. I could never see myself selling it.
That's awesome.
Vehicle.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So one other company vehicle, we have our 24 Ford Mustang. which is currently being driven to the airport. But that's been an awesome vehicle for 42 grand. That 500 horsepower V8 is insane. My dad's trying to. He kind of wants to do. Ford now offers this supercharger kit, which will up the power to 800.
Which we definitely don't need because that car doesn't have the handling pack, so it's already too powerful for the way that the rest of the car drives.
Pizza cutter tires.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we should put 800 horsepower, but it's factory warranted, so we'd love to hear your opinion on that. Drop us a comment below. But Case, let's do this. We're going to hand it over to Nathan and Andre. They got some other news around their personal trucks, and we're going to talk about some prices and some offers for certain products that might be going here shortly. So we'll cut to that right now.
So you and I, we went to CarMax a few months ago because we wanted to figure out some of the values on our personal vehicles. You have a Hyundai Santa Cruz, and I have a Chevy Colorado.
Yeah, yours is 2023?
Yes.
So is mine.
Yes. So, and things are looking up, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was expecting the prices. We've seen some really horrible offers on these vehicles, and we've seen some really good ones too recently, which is the good news. Really quick, just so you know, Andre's not selling his vehicle right now. But
Well, I am. No, but I'm considering options.
Right.
It's been a year of. I owned it for a year. What about you?
I am selling mine.
Okay.
I'm getting rid of it by the end of the month.
You've decided.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my thing is that I've been thinking about this for a while. So and there is another video out there where I talk about the reasons why I'm selling it. Nothing bad, but the bottom line is this: it's a lot easier, of course, to go through brokers and other organizations selling your vehicle, right? The problem, of course, is that you may not get the value that your vehicle is worth, and I'm sure many of you already know that.
But if you're trying to sell it yourself, then there's also dangers, right? What if you don't have what if the person is trying to scam you, yada, yada, yada? What if they don't have the money? It could go on.
Yeah, you never know what the issues can be, and we were fully aware of that. And we've sold, if you've been watching TFL, close to 100 vehicles since over 14 years.
Yeah.
And in that time, we've learned a few things, including that obviously certain ways are easier than other ways, but you do lose a little bit. So I wanted to bring up what we've recently gone through in terms of the vehicles that we've put up on various sites and looked at to see what type of offers we would get.
So this was 2 months ago, and CarMax in person gave you $25,000. This was about 2 months ago.
Yes. Now, my vehicle new was $32,000, a little tiny bit of change. And at the time, I think I had about 18,000 miles on it, give or take. There are more miles on it now. So it's over 22. It's at 22,000 miles, give or take.
And you have a non-turbo 8-speed standard automatic.
Right. I have an SEL with all-wheel drive, but it doesn't have the turbo. It's a regular.
Right. And by standard, I mean it's not a dual clutch. It's an actual.
Just a regular 8-speed automatic.
8-speed auto.
That is correct, and it has a tow package. So not a whole lot going on with the car at all. It's just a mid-level simple car.
What other values did you find?
Right. So remember that this is from over a month back, and so this probably has dropped a little bit from CarMax. Now, Carvana, I just checked today, and they offered me $25,200.
But I have better news.
Okay, I'm not done, but you go ahead. No, you go with the better news.
No, I was going to say, we have a new partner on our website, tfltruck.com, High Road. So, because you mentioned Carvana, it clicked in my head because High Road actually looks at several different places like Carvana.
Right.
And they give you choices. So I put in your VIN, and this is what I got from High Road.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So the best offer they found was $26,000, which is more than CarMax or Carvana.
Yes, and it's also more. There's an instant cash offer from Kelley Blue Book, KBB. But bear in mind, this is instant cash, so this is a little bit different than the other offers, right? $21,870, which is laughable and absurd. So High Road currently has the highest offer for my car. What about yours?
Okay, so by the way, we have it on our website. It's in either in the top search box on desktop.
It's different on the phone.
Or our main menu is in the little 3-bar. And you could see that here as well. So that's a High Road.
Yeah, no, look, we are partnered with them,
right.
But this has nothing to do with that. This has to do with pricing because I'm not going to go to somebody who's offering me even $500 less, right? So far, this is the best offer that I have online.
And then I got at Carvana, I paid $41,000 for my truck about a year ago. CarMax
CarMax, I know it's hard sometimes. There you go.
offered me 36. So like 5K. I have 11,000 miles. It's a trail bus 4x4 with a tow pack and a trailer brake controller. So I have a lot of goodness in my truck as well.
Yes, you do. So, yeah.
And the color is beautiful.
It is. It's better than the yellow vehicle it's towing. So what are your... Oh, okay.
So this changed since about yesterday, but High Road found a slightly better offer, which is 36.4. By the way, more miles. Once
Right.
again, 2 months ago I had fewer miles.
Right.
Now more miles.
Just like me.
But the offer is going up, which is, I think, good news.
I think it's very good news. Now, look, we're not saying, hey, hold off on selling your vehicle. It might go up in value. There's so many things to keep in mind. Wear and tear and, of course, mileage. That can lower your vehicle. But at least in this particular case, both of us have seen an uptick in terms of what the offer is.
By the way, they require you put in your zip code, and our zip codes are Colorado, Denver area, and four-wheel drive vehicles are at the premium here, right? Especially pickup trucks, because they're very useful. You know, you can do a lot of things. So I think this may be a local thing as well, like regional thing for us as well.
All right. It's funny how mine and yours are about $10,000 different, and that works just about right. You got yours for 41. I got mine for 32.
Yeah, that kind of works out.
Roughly, yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's our fleet update. And so some bad news and some
Kind of good news.
pretty good news.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.